I totally get it. I used to do it. I used to mumble. I used to trail off. I used to lose confidence. I didn't have the vocal musculature to actually finish a sentence properly. I had to retrain myself to speak. Whatever you have to say is as valuable as anyone else. Whether you believe that or not, if you're trying to speak to other people, you know, you've got a right to be heard. And if being ignored is because your voice starts to disappear, or your voice starts to disappear because you feel like you're being ignored or unable to finish a sentence or articulate yourself clearly, it's frustrating, and it further perpetuates this cycle of suboptimal speaking. We don't always know what we're going to say before we're going to say it, right? We often just talk, and because of that, if we catch ourselves not knowing where we're going with our speech, and I do this all the time here because I improvise a lot of these videos, it's good to have at least some indication of where you're going, right? Like if you get in your car and just start driving but have no destination, you'll just be going around circles. You might end up somewhere, but it might not be quite where you wanted. So having a clear indication of what the point is means you can head towards that point. It's like throwing a dart at the dartboard, right? You might just not have the strength in your arm and it tails off just before it hits the board, let alone hitting the target. But it's also the same with your speech. You might start speaking and there's just not enough breath there to support it. Your message isn't clear enough, you lose confidence and it just tails off and goes like that. So it does help to know what you're about to say, but it's not necessary because, again, once you get more confident and more practice in, you're going to be able to do that naturally again, like you should in the first place. You could start speaking too fast, but you can still pick up and hit the last 3 words clearly, or 4 words, or 5 words, or all of them, even better, right? But aim for the end, and that way you can at least make your point heard. So first we need to free up your articulation, and then we're going to go through some sentences which can help you aim for the ending and aim to get to the end. And if you find they're too long or too short, you can extend them or make them shorter for yourself until you've improved, and then go back and build upon them. There's lots of videos on this channel with speech and articulation workouts on them, so you could perhaps even take this principle onto those videos and have something further to work with in your own time. So for a quick vocal freedom routine, what we're going to do is yawn. It's so important to do this because it opens up and moves and gets things expanding inside your body. And one good, interesting thing about yawning is, I want you to make the sound too. Not only is it opening up these spaces, you can actually time how long it takes you to finish, and you can also notice how you would naturally trail off with a yawn, right, and run out of air, and see if you can actually stop yourself before you get to the end like this, and stop strong. It's almost like this is what we want to do with sentences as well, because when we're speaking and we start to trail over that, it could be that we've lost air and energy. So don't lose air and energy. Get to the end, rather than speaking for so long that you run out of air and you don't know quite what you're going to say next, and your confidence goes, and then your articulation goes, and the air is completely gone, and then you just trail off like that. Yeah, so practice yawning and practice cutting it off and even extending the length of the yawn and still keeping it strong to the end. Thank you very much. Next, we tend to carry a lot of stress in the jaw, and I go through this a lot on the channel, you may know that. But if you can find these muscles here, the ones in between your mandible and the upper jaw, mandible being the lower jaw, you might find some areas of tension, a little bit of pain. We're going to be careful not to go necessarily underneath here, because I don't want it to be too painful for you, but there's a few muscles that hang around this area, and just give it some attention. A little bit every day, that's all you need to do. Massage it, get in there. Maybe yawn again, open it up. I don't need to overextend your jaw, because you can actually pop these out of place, and I've had this knocked out of place in the past, and it never really healed properly, unfortunately, my TMJ. But give it some attention. It's really worth it. It's going to help you just limber up your articulation of the jaw, because once that's moving, it won't tire so easily, and you'll be able to better articulate your words and use less effort in doing so, because you're not putting your energy into over articulating everything. It should be running quite smoothly and nicely. And even after that yawning and this, I find that my articulation is a little bit crisper somehow. A very important muscle in our articulation is the tongue. So let's just give it a little bit of a workout. We're going to go down and out. And back the other way. Yeah, my TMJ's clicking now. All right, so that's something you can do a lot with. There's loads of stuff on my channel, but think about yawning, massaging your jaw, your tongue. Next, we can do some neck rolls. What I want you to do is put your head down, roll it to the side. We're not going to go too far back, just as far as comfortable. If you feel it pulling, don't go too far. Breathe in through your nose, hold it, and slowly breathe out through your nose. Get to the other side, slowly breathe in, and relax the head. Breathing out through your nose on the way around. You want to do this a few times until you can at least feel some kind of massage. Again, not overstretching it, not over pushing it. Just let the weight of the head and gravity do the work. You can hum, you can sigh. Keep those vocal folds warm. And also do this lightly, because it's nice for your body and brain to make the connection that you don't need too much energy when you speak, that you can have enough air. It could be that you're using too much energy, and that's what's making you tail off in the first place. You know, it's always good to do some trills if you can. Might not be in your accent, so it could be hard to do. Or lip trills. You can use your fingers in the soft parts of your cheeks if that helps. And let's try this line from Shakespeare. It's, to be or not to be, that is the question. You might argue that that is the question is the point of this sentence, and so it's really good to hit the end. What might be happening, if you're someone who tails off or mumbles, is that you could go, to be or not to be, that is the question. But we want to stay strong. Like we did with the yawning, we're going to decide when to end. So know that question is the end line, and hit it hard. Not hard, but hit it. So take enough air. To be or not to be, that is the question. You know, you can say this however you want. You don't have to be completely within the sort of parameters of, you know, iambic pentameter, the way you speak it. You can say to be or not to be. That is the question. Now that was on one breath, but I still had enough time to pause, and I still had enough time to consider what I was saying. If you're someone who rushes and that's why you're misunderstood or mumbling, to be or not to be, that is the question. Still, you can speak fast and hit the end. To be or not to be, that is the question. That. And then it's just a matter of articulation. So are you articulating enough? Right? So do you have enough air to get to the end? Are you aiming for the end? And are you articulating clear enough that all the words throughout your sentence get you to the end? Warm up, practice these sentences. Here's a couple others that you can use, maybe tongue twisters, like Betty Botter bought a bit of better butter. Better butter is what you want to hit. So Betty Botter bought a bit of better butter. Overemphasize that for now, and you know, find your way to get through the whole thing, emphasizing every one. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, what? Where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? Where are they? What have you done with Peter Piper's peck of peppers? Damn you! Okay, one more. My name's Darren McStay. This is Improve Your Voice, and until the next time, look after your voice. I'll do that one more time. I'm Darren McStay. This is Improve Your Voice, and until the next time, look after your voice. That's all you need.
Got a feeling there's no longer any room for two.